Royal Daily Tea YouTube channel. Please be advised all of my videos are for entertainment purposes only, based 100% on my own opinion, my own theories, and my own research. All of my information can be found on the public domain and falls under the fair use guidelines. Please feel free to do your own research. Hi everyone, it's Michelle and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. So we have a lot of juicy royal tea to cover today. So sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. So you guys, on my last episode, I kind of glanced over the podcast for Meghan Markle, the 4th episode that she just released, where they talked about demystifying the Asian dragon lady, where she interviewed comedian Margaret Cho. Now, my main purpose for listening to the podcast was really to see if she was going to trash the royal family, because there was rumors that they went through and edited the podcast and took out all of the negative stuff that was hurled at the royal family, and of course there wasn't, so it was kind of bland. But there was some stories that had some little icky red flags to me, and of course you guys, my amazing subscribers, really told me, hey girl, you missed a lot of stuff in there, and let me tell you, I really did. So we're going to go back and kind of reverse and talk about Meghan's podcast just a little bit. So Meghan, in my opinion, always tries to come up with these fun stories so she can relate to her guest, with Mariah Carey. Her and Mariah Carey were both biracial girls growing up, not feeling like they fit in. Meghan was like, oh, I was the ugly duckling. I was the smart girl. I didn't fit in. She kind of came up with this whole ugly duckling story, and it turns out she was actually very popular in school. But Meghan was trying to make herself feel like an outcast, like Mariah Carey. She's always trying to put herself in the shoes of her guest to kind of steal the spotlight, maybe, or make it about herself. I'm not really sure, but I feel like even with Serena Williams, in that episode when Serena Williams talked about her daughter falling out of her high chair and breaking her arm, which is actually a really big deal for a little kid, Meghan's like, oh, I'm going to one-up ya. Archie almost died in a fire. Yeah, the heater exploded and a fire happened, but we had to keep it a secret. And we all know that story kind of was an exaggeration, and there's a lot of people saying that didn't happen. So now, on Margaret Cho's episode, she comes up with another story. Again, she's always trying to act like she's been there, done that. She's just the multicultural Duchess of the world, one with the people. Even though she's a little valley girl who grew up in a white neighborhood with a white father, whatever. But she always tries to act like she's down with every single race, right? Because she loves to play the race card. So she talks about her one childhood friend and how her friend and her family taught her the proper way to eat noodles. So apparently because she knows how to eat noodles, that means she's immersed in the Asian culture. Well, I got to tell you, one of my friends growing up was Vietnamese. Her mom cooked us egg rolls. That doesn't mean I know anything about Asian culture because her mom cooked us egg rolls. Do you know what I mean? Then she tells this really interesting story about a Korean spa. She says that her mother, Doria, took her to a Korean spa. Now, the weird thing about that is, of course, at the time, by the time Meghan went to Sacred Heart, her father, Thomas Markle, was her main caregiver. Her mother, even according to Meghan, was very much in and out of her life. She was kind of a free spirit, a hippie, and she was actually more of a friend. So she wasn't really around during that time, and Thomas has come out and said that he doesn't remember Doria ever taking Meghan to a Korean spa. But again, maybe she did. Maybe they went and got their nails done and they went to a Korean spa. But the story, guys, is extremely weird. She talked about how she was a young pubescent girl and she was forced to go to this Korean spa and walk around naked in front of a whole bunch of women ages 9 to 90, and that she felt very insecure about her body, and she became very humbled by the experience, and then they went off and ate some hot noodles. Well, that's a weird story, but it gets even stranger. So there is a cartoon series called Big Mouth, which I've never heard of, where they have an episode on their show called Missy's Body Image. It's about a biracial little girl who has problems with her body, and it gets better. So because she's having such a hard time with her body, her mother decides to take her and one of her little friends to a Korean spa. Where she's walking around naked, looking at all these women from all ages and seeing how uniquely beautiful all of these women are. How closely related to Meghan's story is this cartoon? A biracial little girl feeling weird about her body, going to a Korean spa, standing around a whole bunch of women naked of all ages. That's literally the same story, you guys, that she plagiarized from a cartoon. It's like, you can't make it up. That's too much of a coincidence that it's almost the same story, you guys. She is the princess of plagiarism. So Meghan's Mole, another YouTuber, did a fantastic job of kind of breaking this down. I will link her video for you below. But you guys, that is such a weird story, how she says that she was, quote, forced to walk around naked and she just wanted a bathing suit. First of all, I've never been to a Korean spa, but what I've heard from people is, one, they never force a child or anyone to walk around naked. You certainly can have a robe or a bathing suit. There's even an age limit to walk into a certain area of the spa for the body scrubs. And I don't know what the age is, but it's not like little kids can just run around there with naked people. So again, that story just seemed a little weird. And then a lot of people are saying how Meghan said you eat a steaming hot bowl of noodles, but apparently after a hot session in the spa, you go and eat cold noodles. So there's a lot of weird discrepancies about the story. Her father saying he has no idea that Doria would have ever taken her to a Korean spa because she wasn't really around much when Meghan was a pubescent child. And then the thing about her being forced to be around these naked women and eat hot noodles. And it literally is almost word for word of this episode of Big Mouth. It's just too coincidental, much like that whole, Archie's room caught on fire, the person from The Lion King saying that you're just like Nelson Mandela and we all danced in the streets when you got married. The ironic thing is that Meghan just hired a fact checker. I'm like, honey, did you start a day too late? Because you sure as hell didn't fact check that episode. So you guys, it is just getting crazier and crazier. Can she not stop plagiarizing and lying? It can't just be a coincidence, guys. It's literally the entire episode. And when she had the TIG, she never talked about Asian culture. It was a very white Italian kind of cuisine. She never once said, oh, when I was a teenager, my mom took me to Asian spas and I love noodles and I'm so immersed in their culture. Never once talked about it. Again, no one has heard this story, just like the heater story. It's another one she just pulled right out of her hat. So it just got really weird because Meghan is trying to constantly identify with her guests, which I can understand on a certain level. But girl, don't make up stories. Don't plagiarize it. Like I said, just because I ate egg rolls doesn't mean I know Asian culture. Just because you had a bowl of noodles with your little friend once or twice when you were 10 years old doesn't mean you know Asian culture. So there's just something very weird about how she's always trying to immerse herself into all of these cultures when she wasn't really raised that way. Yes, they might have eaten at different restaurants, but again, just because I eat egg rolls or Chinese food doesn't mean I'm immersed in the culture. I just had Chinese food for dinner. Do you know what I mean? So she's kind of pushing the envelope, and her dad said that one Asian friend that she had, they weren't very close and they didn't hang out that often. So again, she made up the Korean spa story and then, oh, my friend, I just knew so much about their culture growing up in LA. Yeah, there's just too many lies and inconsistencies for that to be true. So then they talk about the demystification of the Asian dragon lady and how Margaret Cho, who I think is hilarious, I've loved Margaret Cho, talks about, the stereotypical barriers that hold her as an Asian woman in the Hollywood industry. Well, the first thing that came to mind is, one, Margaret Cho's entire career is built on her stereotypical Asian family, and she makes jokes about it. She even had a TV show called All American Girl, where again it plays into the stereotype of an Asian family. Much like Joe Coy always talks about his Asian culture, which I love to learn about it, and I think it's hilarious the way he tells jokes. I have a German mother, and I could tell you some funny stories about how my mom used to make me my own. I used to have to write my own notes when I wanted to miss school because my mom was afraid that she wouldn't write it properly. So I got to write my own school notes. You know, my mom sounds like Zsa Zsa Gabor. I could tell you a lot of funny stories about my mom. You know what I mean? So I think it was fun how they do that. But now all of a sudden it's a problem. It's a feminist problem about the way people are portraying Asian women in cinema. But yet Margaret Cho has made an entire career off of making fun of Asian stereotypes. Then Meghan goes off on the movie Austin Powers and saying how there was two characters, they were twins, they were F me and F you. I don't really know how to pronounce the names, but you know, it was twins, and yes, it was a little sexualized, but his entire movie was sexualized, and it was an equal opportunity. He made fun of short people, tall people, fat people, skinny people. He was British and he had super bad teeth. Yeah, like he was Austin Powers. He had super bad teeth. He talked about fat bastard, get in my belly, the Scottish guy. He made fun of, short people, tall people. I mean, everything. The sex spots with the guns pointing out of their brassieres. It was a satire. It's a parody where you make fun of everyone. He wasn't just making fun of Asian culture because there was a set of Asian twins. Give me a freaking break. I think they had a whole 5 minutes, if that, of airtime. Okay, so she brings out Austin Powers as a representation of negative stereotyping of Asian women. The other one she did was Lucy Liu's character in Kill Bill. Well, first of all, that was one of the best characters of the movie. She had the best fight scene. It was a realistic one because she was an Asian woman in an Asian house. She had a sword fight, but to me it was like so badass. I love that movie, and it was not portrayed in a negative stereotype, and I'm sure Lucy Liu would not agree with them saying that her movie was stereotypical of Asian culture. Kill Bill was a fantastic movie. She had a fantastic role. There was nothing degrading at all about Kill Bill and Lucy Liu's character. Again, Meghan Markle just has no personality, and she always wants to drag everyone down to her feminist level. We're not in the 1950s, sweetheart. We can take a joke. It's okay not to be offended. So considering the fact that in almost every podcast episode there is a lie or misconception that is discovered, it's like, woo, we got like 6 or 7 more episodes to go, girl. I hope you don't have any more lies in those episodes. So not only did she just supposedly take out some negative stuff about the royals, it's like you need to go in there and start taking out those porky pie lies. There's going to be like, hi, I'm Meghan. Thank you for listening. Like, there's going to be nothing in the episode left, because if you're not trashing the royals or you're not making up crap about yourself, what else is there to talk about? Seriously, guys, that new fact checker has a major hard job ahead of her. That's all I got to say. So there's definitely more stuff happening with Queen Margaret and the Denmark title gate. This huge movement that she did kind of sent shockwaves to a lot of people. No one, I think, saw it coming, even though she had been talking about it for years. Well, there's quite a few other royal households who over the past couple of years have definitely been streamlining their families. They're smaller countries. The UK is a lot bigger than most of these countries. So there's another royal who could be on the chopping block. Her name is Princess Martha Louise of Norway. She is the daughter of King Harald of Norway. Back in 2019, her and her then boyfriend, who's now her fiance, did a series of wellness and self-discovery seminars called The Princess and the Shaman, where they were going to all these Hollywood celebrities like Gwyneth Paltrow. A lot of celebrities go to this like shaman boyfriend of hers, and he does like these healing self-discovery seminars. Well, that didn't go over very well with the people of Norway or the royal family, so she came out and she apologized and said that she would no longer use her royal titles for future projects. So I believe they live in California, and so now there's talks that her title could permanently be removed. So I think that Queen Marguerite definitely sent a ripple effect through Europe. But again, this is something the royals have been doing for quite a while. Most of these European countries are really small, so the need for a large royal family is really not something that's needed. So I believe that Prince Charles is going to follow suit and that Archie and Lilibet are not going to get the Prince and Princess title. Again, we'll have to wait and see. He's in no hurry to make that decision. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think he is waiting for the book to come out, if it comes out this year or next year. Now, we talked about how Harry and Meghan were trying to desperately make some major edits to that docu-series that's been filming for the past decade with Netflix, but Netflix and the producers of the show are fighting back because, let's be honest here, Harry and Meghan's only worth in currency is trash talking the royals. And without the trash talking, it's boring. Nobody is interested in watching old footage of the royals acting like the royals. You know what I mean? It's like they're fake royals. They're the Instagram royals. They're doing these fake PR stunts that they set up themselves and then film it. Who cares? Nobody wants to watch her praying to the children at Uvalde, which again was in very bad taste. Nobody wants to watch them walking around in Amsterdam or listen to Meghan's speech. Nobody cares. Now they're going to go buy themselves another GQ award for all of her charity work. Quite frankly, what charity work has she done? Again, I'm confused. So it's really weird. What kind of footage do they have over the past 2.5 years? Is it going to be marketable? It's going to be old news. And if they take out all of the salacious gossip, they don't have anything that's worth $50 million. So Netflix, in my opinion, they're not happy with the non-producing Sussexes. Now they're all fighting over, will we edit, will we not edit? Is it even worth keeping at this point? So there's a very good possibility that Netflix could shelve this entire project. And the producers who worked on the series are fighting tooth and nail to keep the footage in. So again, these Sussexes have gotten themselves into a little bit of a corner because they were slamming the royal family for 2.5 years. He was writing it in the book. He was putting it in a series. Now they're having second thoughts. But the problem is, without the royals and their connections to the royals, they're nothing. They're not interesting. So now Penguin Random House is in the process of, I guess, backtracking and letting him take out some excerpts of the book, which might push the publication back to 2023. And now you have him fighting with the people of Netflix and the producers over that docu-series. And we have no idea if it's going to even make it this year or next year. Again, they had the whole Heart of Invictus that was filmed 6 months ago, and we still haven't seen that. So the Sussexes are going to have a little bit of a financial crunch if they lose their deal with Penguin Random House and Netflix. So again, without slamming the royals, their currency is really, really low. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that Netflix is going to cave and let them re-edit the footage and push it out till 2023? Do you think Harry's going to release the memoir in November that they had originally decided, or do you think they're going to push it back until the new year? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.